It's April 7th, 2015, and we're here for the Brattleboro Selectboard meeting. Welcome to everybody on BCTV, and welcome to everybody who's in attendance. We know that the meeting was officially warned because we convened at 5:30 and went into executive session to discuss labor relations matters and probable litigation. We're going to be doing some shuffling of the agenda tonight. Initially, we had anticipated only having 3 members of the select board, but one of our members was able to get here just a minute ago. But we are going to lose one of our members partway through our meeting because he's got to attend another. So tonight, we're going to be taking up 8 of the items that were listed from the 15-item agenda. We're going to do the 3 items under liquor commissioners. We're going to go into and convene as water and sewer commissioners so we can move on the Black Mountain Gravity Sewer Feed project. And then under new business, we're going to consider and hopefully award contract for cemetery maintenance, approve borrowing to purchase new air packs for the fire department, approve a highway safety law enforcement grant, and then approve an approach for the municipal center, consider and hopefully approve an approach for the municipal center life safety improvements. All 7 other items will be taken up at our next meeting. I'll also note in terms of scheduling that it looks like the meeting that had been scheduled for April 21 may also suffer from having people who are not available based on scheduling conflicts, and so we may be rescheduling the April 21 meeting to another date, and we'll give notice of that as soon as we have the new date. So we're going to skip over chair's remarks, manager's comments, select board comments, committee reports, and public participation. We will return to public participation after the 8 items that we're going to call for action. And so we're now ready for a motion to convene as liquor commissioners. We have a motion to convene as liquor commissioners. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 4-0. The first matter on the liquor commissioner's agenda is a request for an outdoor consumption permit for the Fraternal Order of Eagles. Peter, if you could briefly explain that to us.
Yes, sir. The Eagles has had an outdoor consumption permit in the past. There was a hiatus for some period of time when they did not obtain that permit, so it's back in front of you, not as a renewal, but as a new permit. But it is actually an activity that has gone on in the manner that's proposed, in the locations that are proposed. You may recall that at a prior meeting, it was in front of you. There was an Eagles request of this nature that was on the agenda. That afternoon, we learned that they actually wanted to apply for both locations that are before you tonight. And so in order to make sure that it was a complete package, you deferred that evening the one location that was proposed. It's now ready for your approval for the 2 locations that are specified in the backup.
Can you articulate what are the 2 locations and just tell us the police and fire positions?
Yes, so they're adjacent to, they're at the location of the Fraternal Order of Eagles at 54 Chickering Drive. It has been reviewed by staff, and the application is in a form that's acceptable to staff. Both locations are adjacent to their building and on their own property.
Thank you. Is there any discussion from anybody on the board? Does anybody who's in attendance have any questions or comments about this matter? Seeing none, we're ready for a motion.
I move we approve an outside consumption permit for the Fraternal Order of Eagles located at 54 Chickering Drive.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 4-0. The next matter on the agenda is a permit for Four Seasons Media, Inc., doing business as Brattleboro Brewers Festival. And I believe that I see people in attendance who might want to speak to this. If you want to come to the table and get some free publicity after you introduce yourselves, that might be good. Although you all work for radio stations, so you get publicity all the time.
Could never tell where you're from.
That way I'm not confused. Mr. Chairman, good evening. As you may know, I'm Tim Johnson from WTSA, and with me are owner and general manager Kelly Corbeil and Stephanie Larson from the station staff. This would be a permit for the festival permit for the 4th annual Brattleboro Brewers Festival. Some of you were on hand when the governor visited Hermit Thrush Brewery just a few weeks ago. And between Hermit Thrush, McNeil's, and Whetstone, we have what's become a growing niche market in Brattleboro, as evidenced throughout Vermont. And this is a great way to turn the tide that people like my dad used to do to avoid the bottle deposit law. He'd go to New Hampshire and buy his beer. Now people are coming to Brattleboro to buy beer, and I think that's certainly to be admired and something that we want to encourage. And I'll let Kelly fill in the blanks.
So we're looking for approval for our festival permit. It'll be May 16th, courtesy of the Famolari families letting us use the ballback fields again to do that. It'll be from 12:30 to 4:30. We have about 30 brewers, 33 I believe, that are coming, mainly from New England area, 3 of which obviously are right here from our own hometown. We have 2 great bands, again, a hometown band called Groove Prophet, and then another band that's pretty well known in the Boston area as well as around here, which is the Chris Fitz Band, which is phenomenal. And so we're highly encouraging people to buy tickets, to come to the event, to help support the event. We're looking to hopefully get close to 1,000 people. Keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully it grows year after year. And I'm not sure if I have anything else. Do you have anything, Dad?
Just that you can buy tickets locally at Whetstone, Hermit Thrush, also People's Pint in Greenfield, Avenue Grocery here in town, or online at BrattleboroBrewersFestival.com. Other than that, we're excited. Oh, we can also, social media, we're giving opportunities to win tickets as well via Facebook and Instagram, so check us out on there as well.
Excellent. Thank you. I seem to recall there was significant coordination with the police and fire in last rounds. Police and fire have reviewed the plans and approve of the permit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
I see nodding heads. Or they're ignoring me, one or the other. Is there anybody on the board who has any questions? Is there anybody who's in attendance who has any questions or comments from either? Hearing none, we're ready for a motion.
Okay, I move to approve a festival permit for Four Seasons Media Incorporated, doing business as Brattleboro Brewers Festival for May 16th between the hours of 12:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. on Famolari Field at the Vermont Agricultural Business Education Center on Old Guilford Road.
Is there any further discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 4-0. Good luck. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
The next matter on the agenda is the application for renewal of liquor license for Panda West LLC, doing business as Vermont Asian Gourmet. And if the two of you want to come up to the table too. Thank you. I'll just briefly explain that when we approved the list of liquor licenses, I think it was a month ago, there was a significant history of violations for this business. And in the past, we've tried to keep a close watch on businesses that are serving alcohol in town. And we wanted to make sure that we understood some of the context for the violations and the steps that had been taken to respond to those. And I've had a chance to read through the materials, and I saw the settlement agreement with the Department of Liquor Control and the fact that the license was suspended for a period of time, but it looks like everything has been in order since then. But we wanted to have representatives come and speak to us a little bit about your business, and so it's a chance for some free publicity, and also just to talk with us a little bit about how you've been able to respond to those violations. So if you'd like to just introduce yourselves and, talk to us a little bit about those issues, that'd be great.
This is Wong Lin and I'm Mark Raymond, and I am responsible for the liquor consumption at the restaurant. And basically, it wasn't anything to do with liquor, but he realizes the statute of liquor is under, there can't be any arguing or anything like that. It was like a domestic dispute like you'd have in your own home. There wasn't any, that's why I said under the lying part of it, it wasn't any lying to it. It was a misunderstanding on their part that they just had the barrier of not knowing when the liquor control came in that they needed to produce these documents that were on hand. They were there, but when the front waitress when he comes in with the guns, she freezes and she doesn't understand what to do. But now I have it in a location behind the bar where all she has to do is hand the folder. It has the liquor receipts in it, the daily receipts, for the past week, and if they want to go through boxes. And to be honest with you, the people thought that maybe she had a language barrier, or the commission did, when we first started. But my eyes are not as good as they used to be, and she can read the licenses better than I can, and I've taught her. And I check behind her, and she comes to me and says, I'm not going to serve that guy anymore at the bar. And we do very little liquor consumption anyway. A scorpion ball here and again, but it's very limited. It's not like a full-blown bar. We close down most of the time. People are out of there by 10:15 anyway. We haven't had any problems since. We complied with what they wanted, meaning the Montpelier. And I'm sorry it didn't get to you guys quicker, or we didn't get, but it's all relatively new in Vermont. I'm from Massachusetts, so the laws are far different. But it's wonderful doing business in Vermont.
And business is okay there in West Brattleboro?
It's been a really tough first year.
Right.
The road was horrible.
Well, we tried to do it that.
The road was horrible, but it's smooth now.
Yeah.
It's business has come a long way. We restructured, that's why we changed the name to get the stigmatism, and we put the VT in front, a little bit of a marketing technique, the VT for Vermont, and business has really picked up.
Good.
We've tried to keep it clean around there and, keep it bright as we can, so, 'cause it's pretty dark up in that area. But we really enjoy it, and we have the cleanest Asian restaurant in the world. You can come in and check the kitchen if you want. We got a 94-hour exam from the health department.
Excellent.
Very clean. And that's what our motto is on our advertisements. So it's great meeting you folks. And I've already met with the town manager a little bit. I know the fire department. I know the police department.
Well, there was no need to apologize. The fact is that we used a new procedure this year and looked at all licenses at once. And this was one that stood out for some old violations. And we wanted to make sure everything was in order and working well. So thank you very much for coming in and talking with us. Does anybody from the board have any questions or comments? Anybody who's in attendance have any questions or comments? Then we're ready for a motion to approve this liquor license.
I move that we approve a first-class liquor license for Panda West LLC, doing business as Vermont Asian Gourmet, located at 911 Western Avenue.
Can I inquire, we changed the procedures so that it was contingent on the paperwork getting into the town manager. I take it you've already submitted your paperwork to the town clerk? Everything's into the town clerk already?
Yes, for the license and application, yes.
So we're just approving this license now?
That's correct.
All right. Any further discussion
So
or
there shouldn't be any
questions?
hiccups with the...
No delay.
Good, perfect, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed or abstaining, that carries 4-0. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck.
Now we can go back to work.
Yeah. We're ready for a motion to adjourn as liquor commissioners. We have motion to adjourn as liquor commissioners. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That carries 4-0. Now we're ready for motion to convene as water and sewer commissioners.
So moved.
We have a motion to convene as Water and Sewer Commissioners. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? That carries 4-0. Mr. Barrett.
Good evening, Steve Barrett, Director of Public Works. I'm here tonight to go over the bids for the Black Mountain Gravity Sewer project. This is the last remaining project of the wastewater treatment upgrade. On February 19th, 2015, we opened bids for this project. The bid was broken down into two parts. There was a base bid that was for the installation of the pipe and the gravity pipe, and also using trenchless technology and removal of the pump station. And then we added an alternative B, and what that is to remove the existing wastewater line that is attached to the I-91 bridge as a separate contract. So we received two bids. The first bid we received was from Kingsbury Companies. They're from Waitsfield, Vermont, I'm sorry. The base bid Schedule A was for $860,350. The alternative, which was to remove this pipe from the I-91 bridge, is $38,900, and that's for a base bid and alternative total of $899,250. The second bid was from Zaluzny Excavating from Vernon, Vermont. They had a base bid schedule of $973,900. The alternative for their bid was $60,000, and that was a base bid alternative total for $1,033,900. So we're recommending that the low bid be accepted by Kingsbury Companies of Waitsfield, Vermont, for a total of $899,250.
Steve, it's fair to say that the specifications on the bid submitted by Kingsbury have been reviewed by our consulting engineer?
Yes, Hoyle Tanner, our engineer, has reviewed all the bids. They've also done reference checks on the contractor. There's a subcontractor that will do the direct drilling and also checked on their past jobs, and they came back very favorable. Kingsbury actually completed a job for us just recently as part of the last job that we did with FEMA, the wastewater treatment outfall pipe. So we feel that we've done business with this company, and also their references come back good. And Hoyle Tanner said that all their bid documents are in order.
And at the risk of making us go past 6:45, it's good to say every time in public, you'll explain why it's better to do the gravity feed line rather than the pump station?
Sure. As from our experience on this upgrade, the pump station, to renew a pump station is approximately $1 million, and you have to do this every 20 to 25 years. By doing this project, we're actually eliminating a complete pump station, and that's the ongoing electrical cost and possible chemical cost forever. So there's a big advantage by removing this pump station. The ongoing capital cost to upgrade the pump facility and the ongoing operation cost.
Peter?
Thank you. Before you act on this evening, I just wanted to put the bid award, which is ready for your approval, in the broader context of the $32 million worth of improvements to the wastewater facilities. And the news is good on all fronts. There's three different ways we wanted to report the numbers back to you as we go forward to complete this final project. One relates to the overall cost of these projects, because the vast majority of the cost was in the bonds, but there was some additional funding that was provided. So the overall project cost is coming in under the $32,800,000 estimated total figure by approximately $356,000. So that's the savings on the overall series of projects that have been completed. Because there was a small portion of that was paid in cash, the bonded amount is actually further below the $32,800,000 figure, $639,000 below it. Most importantly, in terms of the debt burden to the users of the system, people of the community, because there were loan subsidies that were part of the bond package for the financing for the project in excess of $2 million, the total amount of the debt owed by the town to pay off these $32,160,000 worth of improvements is just over $30 million. So in total, that amount of bonded indebtedness that the town owes and will be paying back on is coming $2,787,000 below the $32,800,000 ceiling for the project. So overall, between the work that was done by Public Works Department and the various contractors that have worked on this, the various engineers who have assisted, the town's financial team, Patrick during his time as interim town manager, is just a complete successful project on a very large scale, something that could have been, led to issues for the town to manage. And I know that along the way there were some challenges to face, but those challenges were faced and were successfully resolved. So the final result of this is all the needed improvements have been completed, or will be when this job is finished, at a cost to the town substantially below the upside figure.
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody on the board have any questions or comments? Anybody who's in attendance have any questions or comments? We're ready for a motion.
All right. I move to award a bid in the amount of $899,250 to Kingsbury Companies of Waitsfield, Vermont for completion of the Black Mountain Gravity Sewer Line.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That carries 3-0. We should note for the record that one of our select board members left because he's testifying in Montpelier tomorrow on some education restructuring related issues, and he needs to attend the Wyndham Southeast Supervisory Union meeting in order to confer with his fellow board members about the SU position that he's going to be communicating in Montpelier. So we wish Dave all the best of success tomorrow in Montpelier. We're ready for a motion to adjourn as Water and Sewer Commissioners.
So moved.
We have motion to adjourn as Water and Sewer Commissioners. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 3-0. It also should be noted that the Select Board can only act by a majority of the board. So with 3 members in attendance, all 3 members need to vote in favor. So if you're thinking about voting against and you've got substantial reservations, let us know beforehand, please, so we can decide whether to call a vote or not. Under new business, the first item is cemetery seasonal maintenance contract. I see Ms. Lolot. Hi, Carol.
Good evening. So I'm here to review with you our annual bids, or bid, I should say, this year, for cemetery maintenance of both Morningside Cemetery and Prospect Hill. This year, we only received one bid from Turner and Renault for $17,800. This is kind of unique, as it is every year. The maintenance of the cemetery takes place over 2 fiscal years. So the $17,000 is obviously over the 2 fiscal years, and with what's left in this budget and what we have budgeted for next year, we're well within the budgeted amount that we have to go forward with the cemetery maintenance.
They're a local business and they've done a good job in the past.
Correct. They've been, I believe the last 2 years, for sure, they've been doing it, but they've been on and off for the last several years, and we have a good working relationship.
Is there any inquiry or comment from anybody on the board? Anybody who's in attendance want to speak to this matter? We're ready for a motion.
I move that we award a bid in the amount of $17,800 for seasonal cemetery maintenance services to Turner and Renault of Dummerston, Vermont.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed or abstaining? It carries 3-0. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Next matter on the agenda is self-contained breathing apparatus, air packs, consideration and approval of a loan to purchase those. Mike and Pete, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
So we're here tonight asking for board approval to move forward with the purchase of our new air packs. A quick history rerun, if you remember, Back in FY 14, 15, and 16, we had a 3-year program in the capital budget to replace all 34 of our air packs. At that time, we attempted to get a Fire Act grant from the federal government. We were not successful with that grant. For FY 16 or FY 15, the present budget year, we now have $288,000 in capital budget to purchase those packs. And we've gone out for updated bids, and we're asking for approval for the town to go out for a loan in the amount of $222,146 to purchase those air packs at this time.
Can you please just summarize for us? I know that we've heard this before, but I know that the air packs that are being used by our firefighters are old and are falling out of compliance, and they're really a vital piece of equipment when people need to go into dangerous situations. So maybe you could just talk about the role that the air packs play in the work that our firefighters are doing and the importance of replacing them all at once.
Sure. So presently, the department has 34 air packs. By policy, all firefighters that are going into a hazardous atmosphere are required to have on an air pack. Our oldest packs now were purchased in 1999. All 34 air packs now are out of NFPA compliance. There's a totally new upgrade of the regulation, and none of our packs meet that, which is obviously why we're asking for approval of the purchase.
We were able to get a loan at 1.44%. So what do we think is the time frame for having those air packs on hand?
I bet I could order them tomorrow morning.
When do you think you'll have them? Friday?
Boy, it would be nice. I should mention that Scott Air Pack is going to come in and do free mask fits for the career staff. And also, as part of the deal, they're also going to provide us with 34 free spare cylinders. So we'll have a complete air pack plus a spare cylinder for each air pack.
Good. Well, you'll let us know as soon as they're on hand.
We will.
In working order. Is there any further discussion or comment from anybody on the board? Anybody in attendance want to speak to these matters? Then we're ready for motion.
I move to approve a 3-year loan in the amount of $222,000 with Merchants Bank at an interest rate of 1.44% for the purchase of air packs for the Brattleboro Fire Department.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next matter on the agenda is consideration of a highway safety law enforcement grant. And I see the chief and captain here from the fire department, from the police department. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses.
Good evening.
Sorry.
We would like the board's permission to apply for a Governor Highway Safety Grant in the amount of $31,763.25. This grant is broken down into 2 categories, DUI and occupant protection. And the grant will run from October 1st of 2015 to September 30th, 2016. This is a grant that we get on a reoccurring basis. We have a very good relationship with the state, and all that money that goes to it goes to a good cause for making our roads safer for pedestrians, motorists, and things of that nature.
Is there any inquiry from anybody on the board? Any comments? Anybody who's in attendance want to say anything or have any questions? Hearing none, that we're ready for motion.
I move that we approve a highway safety law enforcement grant application in the amount of $31,763.25 to the Vermont Department of Public Safety for highway safety enforcement activities.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next and last matter on tonight's agenda is to consider and approve a plan relating to municipal center life safety improvements. So I'm going to turn the floor over to town manager for an explanation of where we stand, how we got here, how we're going to move forward, and the motions that are needed for taking that action.
Thank you. Approximately a year ago, the town was notified by the State Division of Fire Safety that there were substantial actions that the town needed to take in order to bring this building, the municipal center, into compliance with the applicable fire safety codes. There are elements missing from the building and elements that are inadequate in the building related to the fire alarm system, the sprinkler system, and actual constructed elements of the building. So for instance, in the traditional old style of the staircases that we have, there's no separation between the first floor and the second floor to prevent fire from running up those stairwells from one floor to another. So the inspection that occurred that led to this listing of violations was part of the review by the state in preparation for what was at that time anticipated to be the addition on this building that would have, if the plan that was approved in 2012 for the police fire facilities had in fact gone forward to construction without further review. It is unrelated to the fact that, for other reasons that you're well aware of, we didn't proceed with construction of that plan and are now taking another look at the projects, the public safety projects, and we will be addressing those in their larger scale together in the months ahead. Tonight, what we have is the obligation that the town has as the owner of the building to protect the general public who comes in and out of this building every day and the employees who work in this building every day with work that must be done. It's expensive work, currently estimated to be approximately $500,000 worth of work in order to bring the building into compliance. It's work that will have to be done sooner than later by anyone who would be occupying this building. So, one of the issues that has come up in the course of the conversation about the police and fire facilities is whether at some point the town government services might be relocated from this building. Even if that were to happen, it's not going to happen in a time frame that would make it a responsible course of action for the town not to face these code deficiencies and take action on them in the near term. We've had extensive communication with the Division of Fire Safety. Patrick was immediately in contact with them a year ago when the town first received notice of these violations. He then contracted with a local contractor to go through the building very thoroughly and determine what would be necessary in order to bring the town's municipal center up to compliance and address those deficiencies. By the time that work had been completed and there had been additional communication with the Division of Fire Safety, it was late in the year, 2014, and I was almost here. And he asked them if they would allow some additional time for me to arrive, understand the scope of this, work together with him and the others on the town staff, and be able to then work with the Division of Fire Safety to bring you a plan that the Division of Fire Safety would find adequate to address the safety issues here in the building, but would be feasible for the town, actually something that we could practically move forward with. One of the great concerns was faced with $500,000 worth of work unexpectedly and competing with other needs, anticipated and unanticipated, that this isn't something that could just happen overnight. On the other hand, if it could just happen overnight, it should, because of the nature of the safety issues that it presents. So Division of Fire Safety has been terrific about working with us step by step, understanding that the town was taking the necessary preliminary actions to be positioned to take real action in the building to address these problems, knew that we would get in front of you as quickly as we could. We needed funding for that, and the Article 19 that was on the representative town meeting warning to appropriate almost $500,000 for, to be applied to, it was listed as 4 in the warning. As you know, there's 3 projects that it might actually need to be applied to. We're in position now with that authorization from representative town meeting to be able to draw on that as a source of funds and address these needs. What's before you tonight is not the actual authorization of a specific amount of money to complete the fire panel work, but we're asking you to make a commitment as the governing body of the town to completing this first element of work as quickly as possible in the most cost-effective manner, to demonstrate further, and for the first time at this level of authority, the select board, the town's commitment, so that I can write to the Division of Fire Safety tomorrow and say that you have so authorized, that we move forward as expeditiously as possible on what is the most important of the missing elements here. In terms of the things that we need to do to better protect people in the building, the one that most critically connects to actually saving lives is the fire panel and the fire alarm system. The other things, the sprinkler system and the constructed elements of the building in terms of just having penetrations through the walls sealed up and the other kinds of things that make the building in toto a safer place to be, those sorts of things can provide an additional level of safety and protection to people in the building, but to a great degree protect property and isolate fire within a certain section of the building if it did occur. The thing that is most immediately saving lives in the building if we did have a fire here would be a fully functional, proper code-compliant fire alarm system. Fortunately for us in addressing this in a methodical manner, the fire alarm system is also the least expensive of the 3 separate pieces of the work that need to be done. It's been estimated that the cost of it will be approximately $80,000 to the town. They're in the bidding process. We are out to bid. One of the things that we did administratively in order to demonstrate to the Division of Fire Safety that we're moving forward as fast as we reasonably can on this is we put a bid package out on the street. We're anticipating receiving bids shortly and being back in front of you at your next meeting if possible. We think we will make that deadline, May 5th at the latest, for an actual bid award to complete this work. In response to the bid package that's out, the specifications that are out on the street, certain of the potential bidders have raised a question as to whether full replacement of the fire panel and the fire alarm system is required, or whether it might be possible to upgrade the existing system. That could potentially provide a significant savings to the town as compared to the $80,000 estimate for a full new system. We don't know, though, whether or not an upgrade to the existing can be completed in a manner that will cure the violation and bring the town into full compliance and provide the measure of safety that's required in the building. I've been in communication as recently as this afternoon with Bruce Martin, who's the official at the Division of Fire Safety, who is the one who is directly responsible. He conducted the inspection a year ago. He's directly responsible for determining the adequacy of the remedies that we're moving forward with. He's been extremely helpful to us in working through the definition of how we can move forward here and protect the public and still do it in a manner that is affordable to the town. And in the conversation as recently as today on it, he indicated that without seeing specifically what is being proposed as an upgrade to the existing system, he can't pass judgment on whether or not something short of full replacement will be adequate. But he's committed to working with us and continuing in that spirit of collaborating on this to make sure that we get it done as quickly and as well and as cost effectively as possible. That he will work with us when we are reviewing the bids that we receive to see if there is something that is short of full replacement that can adequately address what needs to be done, so that he and his team at Division of Fire Safety are able to approve that the town will be in compliance. So what we will do is issue an addendum to the bid package, and everybody who is going to be in this competition for this work will have the opportunity to bid not only what is specified with the full replacement, but also something that is short of that full replacement, that in their opinion should meet the state's requirements and provide a savings to the town. When we've received the bids, everyone who's submitted a sealed bid will need to have addressed the specified full replacement. They'll have the option of either submitting an alternative or not if they believe that that might be adequate. We will then review whatever alternatives we do receive. We'll review together with the Division of Fire Safety to know in advance before we come back to you whether or not one of the cost savings approaches is actually going to be adequate here. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be in a position where we can come back and actually ask you to authorize the expenditure of funds in a specific amount for a specific purpose that'll either be the full replacement of the fire alarm system or something short of that that will be sufficient to protect the public.
So that's part of what needs to be done.
That's the first part. The second thing we're asking you to do tonight is to commit, by directing me to work with staff and make it happen, to commit to preparing a plan. We'll bring it back to you so that you are in a position to be able to approve this plan by September 30th that will be very specific as to the work that is to be completed and the timeline by which it will be completed for all of the other elements of violation that we have in the building, so that within a 2-year period, we would have the building fully compliant with all of the applicable fire codes.
And the September 30 date also, we hope, will dovetail with some of our ongoing work with the police fire project.
The reason for choosing that date is it's about as far out as we responsibly can go and still be keeping our commitment to the Division of Fire Safety and, more importantly, to the public to be expeditiously addressing what needs to be done here in the building. About as far out as we can go and still have additional time. We could have completed a plan more quickly. And if we could have responsibly pushed it out further, we probably even would have done that to make sure that we have ample time to make the decisions we need to make about how all these things fit together. But it was kind of the sweet spot for balancing those two things. We wanted as much time as possible so that we can complete the additional staff work that's being done right now, get back in front of the board, have the board be knowledgeable of what we've learned in terms of options for moving forward with police fire. To the extent that you're going to need additional input from the Police and Fire Committee, there'll be that level of review as well, back to the board again. There's some steps we need to take together over these coming months that may significantly intertwine with the additional work that would need to be done for fire safety here in the building. And so the purpose of the September 30th date is we know that our goal and expectation for resolving these issues related to the police and fire facility matter is to be in a position by sometime during the upcoming summer months where we could be ready to go back to a representative town meeting, be very clear about what we're seeking in terms of authority to proceed with that project. And if we're able to stay on that timeline, then by September 30th, we certainly would be in a position to commit either as part of that project or separate from that project to do the remaining work that needs to be done here at the Municipal Center.
I would just note that when considering the alternative of upgrading the existing system rather than replacement, while we may be saving money in the short term by upgrading, we also should keep in mind the life safety, the long-term life cycle cost?
Sure.
The long-term life cycle cost, because we don't want to be doing upgrade now and putting ourselves in a position where 5 or 10 years from now, we're going to need to spend that same $80,000 we could have spent now. So we'll want to evaluate whether the upgrades will be a long-term fix. And we'll look forward to hearing about that as well. Is there any further inquiry or discussion from anybody on the board or anybody who's in attendance? I move that the select board direct the town manager to continue with the bidding process to upgrade the fire alarm system at the municipal center, to return to the select board as soon as possible with the lowest awardable bid that will comply with the requirements of the Vermont Division of Fire Safety, and to work with the Vermont Division of Fire Safety to develop a plan for the remaining life safety improvements required at the Brattleboro Municipal Center for approval by the Select Board prior to September 30, 2015, including a construction schedule that will achieve full compliance within 2 years. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 3-0. I think the only other remaining items on the agenda are the introductory matters. So we'll start with public participation. Is there anybody in attendance who wants to speak to any matter that's not on the agenda or that wasn't called on the agenda?
Don't hold back.
Right? Any members of the press want to speak to anything? I also, under chair's comments, I want to conclude the meeting first by thanking everybody who participated in town meeting 2 weeks ago. I thought it was a thought-provoking, thorough, respectful town meeting. We got a lot of business accomplished. We heard a lot of points of view, both on the school board and the select board side. And I think it's really a model of the way to deal with town business. And I want to thank everybody who participated. I also want to take this opportunity to extend our gratitude to 3 longtime Brattleboro Emergency Services employees who have retired and announced their retirement. Marty Rancourt worked full-time for the Brattleboro Fire Department for 30 years, retired as a lieutenant on March 31, 2015. Lieutenant Bob Kirkpatrick worked full-time for the police department for 24 years, and he retired as a lieutenant on March 28th of 2015. And Tom Barrows worked full-time for the fire department for 35 years and has announced his retirement effective May 1, 2015. Altogether, over the course of those 3 months, we are saying goodbye to employees who've worked for us for 89 years. And, you know, rather than focusing on the fact that we're losing significant experience, it's really a comment on the dedication and hard work and commitment of Brattleboro's employees and what a great community we live in. And so we want to thank those employees and everybody who works in the fire department for their hard work on behalf of the town and its citizens. Are there any select board comments or committee reports? So like I said, we're going to be rescheduling all the other matters that were on the agenda to our next select board meeting. And we're probably going to have to reschedule that select board meeting from April 21 because of scheduling conflicts. Thank you to everybody who has come in attendance and everybody who participated in the meeting tonight. We're ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed or abstaining? That carries 3-0. Thank you, members of the press. Thank you, BCTV. Thank you, ASL interpreters. Good night.